Hi, I'm Thundering Iron Horse, known as Benny the Jet Urquidez, and this is Rigan Machado. Actually, man, we go back a long ways, and
Long
so
time.
tell me, Higan, the first time I met you and the family. I was doing a movie with Chuck Norris up in Israel, and I came back and I met Carlos. First, I met your younger brother, Carlos.
Yes.
And then from there, then I met the rest of familia, man. Then I read the rest of you.
No, I remember actually the time. I remember Chuck Norris is always brag about you to us. He said, man, Ben your kids, and basically start to get to know Ben your kid history as a champion, as a fighter. We was so impressed. It was very amazing to meet like one of the best of the best in person. He's was so humble, so nice, and I remember when I met him, was how can be so great champion, he be so nice person at the same time.
Well, I didn't feel like getting choked out.
the, but Benny was a good example for us how to behave as a champion. We've been try to be humble as possible when you come to America too.
So when you came, what exactly when you started, actually introducing, jiu-jitsu here to?
Was a strange journey. Um, I think I get ready to leave to go back to USA. We reached Norton when they said before you go back to USA, let's meet a friend of mine. You talk to him, you teach him some lessons. It was Chuck Norris. Chuck Norris was the one who said, no, you're not going back. I want you to stay. I want to help you guys. And Chuck Norris was, because him, we're here today. That was the one of the reasons all the Machados in America today because Chuck Norris.
So I made, cause I worked with Chuck and I've known him for about 47 years. We go back a long way, but also I trained him in kickboxing also. But you know, back in '73, I started full contact karate, which back then there was no rules. I come from a judo background to begin with, and so I was doing. There was no rules, no weight divisions, no just elimination. And it was like two day tournament. And Saturday I fought. I think I stopped 7 people on Saturday, and then on Sunday I stopped 4. I ended up beating Dana Goodson, which he was actually Hawaiian favorite there. So I stopped him, and that's when the first title. So from 75, 70, actually from 73 to 75, it was full contact karate, and the word kickboxing was born. Okay? The word kickboxing was born in '76, because everybody was saying full contact karate like you're boxing and then you add legs, or you're kicking and you're punching.
Yes.
And so the word kickboxing was born in '76. But I noticed that actually when it was coming, when it was starting to, I wrote the first kickboxing book. That was in '78, and I started introducing kickboxing around the world. And so in introducing kickboxing around the world, in '80, I built the Jet Center to have a home for kickboxing. So it has a home.
I remember. I was
Yeah.
there.
So in that, all the way up till about 80, 88, 89, is but the Gracies came in the late '80s.
Yes.
And started to.
Yeah, in Brazil, the sport was growing pretty fast. The sport of jiu-jitsu was growing pretty fast. The mixed martial arts in Brazil, the MMA in Brazil was not that big. But I remember when we come to America, Orion, when me, Hicks and Hardy, we arrived here. I remember Hardy, like, let's go around and see place to training. And we start travel around the U.S., have opportunity to train for wrestlers, judo guys, many different martial arts. And a lot of the ground fight was, we didn't feel strong as Brazil at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think Rory came out the idea to do the UFC. Said like, hey, let's do a show because this show can help Jiu-Jitsu grow faster. And that was his idea at the beginning. We didn't have no idea how big UFC is today.
Yeah.
It's going to be that big. We realize it's a vehicle, is a way to help Jiu-Jitsu, the sport of the Jiu-Jitsu martial arts to grow. That was his idea in the beginning, but it was amazing to see how things end up getting in the hands of some of the Vetira brothers and Dana White and help to push to the next level. It's unbelievable. UFC actually was a big vehicle, a big who helped to promote Jiu-Jitsu so much, because still today promote Jiu-Jitsu so much, because they almost say like, hey, today for you to be a good mixed martial arts, you need to know the strikes, the takedown, and you need to know the ground. That is something who helped many Jiu-Jitsu academies open everywhere, and I think UFC have a big contribution to help Jiu-Jitsu to grow a lot.
So the way of the fighting today is about 3-foot shooting, 2-foot kicking, 1-foot punching, anything closer to that, elbow, knee, standing chokes, arm bars,
Yes.
and take to the ground, tap or snap, right?
Yes, I agree with you 100%.
So, you know, in that, the way of how the arts developed, you know, back in the 60s, everything was, all the martial arts was apart. You know, Kempo karate was Kempo karate. Then you had, you know, Taekwondo, and then you had different arts that were separated, and they kept separated. But in the 90s, early 90s, after my last fight was in '94, and then after that, there was no more heroes in the kickboxing world to keep pushing it up. And then in '95, from '95 to 2000, Jiu-Jitsu, man, everybody started talking the word mixed martial arts. Okay? And when they started calling mixed martial arts, everybody was saying, oh yeah, well, I better learn how to ground fight, I better learn how to box, I better learn how to kickbox, I better learn, and so they were learning about everything.
It's kind of funny because mixed martial arts, even like I believe the top martial arts MMA today, I don't believe we have to be 100% ground, 100% stand, 100% throws and takedowns. I think he know little bit each one. He created his game for MMA, and I think MMA come own identity as a sport for fighting. I think they train everything, but you see some of the guys who is a world champion in MMA, in case you see his level in the Jiu-Jitsu, don't even a black belt level, he's a purple belt level, but even like you see, like his box level is not like your level or anybody, you know what I mean? You see, he know few punch, he'll kick, but he mix the game, he's helping him to win some fights, even to be a champion. But it's interesting to see how mixed martial arts come his own identity.
So anyway, I believe that right now that the way of the world right now, you have to know a little bit of everything, as you were saying.
I agree.
And but the fighters of today, are, I'm always believing safety first, because again,
Exactly.
right now more people are getting hurt in the gyms before they even fight, because they really don't understand stand-up fighting. They really don't understand ground fighting. There's such a skill. A lot of people don't like ground fighting because they say it's boring, but there's such skill because they know nothing about it, and they don't realize how much patience and how much courage it takes to be relaxed when somebody's striking and you're relaxed and just moving the energies around. And me coming from, you know, a ground, should I say, a ground sport, it's really now it's changed completely to this day. So what are you doing right now? What are you doing
Today,
right now?
one of the passions I have is like my whole life as a sport competitor, I never made any money and compete like all my life, and I didn't have profit my whole life. And based like one of the things I decide to do, I want to help the next generation to change to come like UFC.
Mm-hmm.
And basically I start a new journey, like I start an organization called Jiu-Jitsu World League, which I try push to come professional, because I think it's time for the sport to because not everybody want to do MMA in the
Yeah,
sport.
that's right.
Everybody, some people, I want to compete the sport, the points, the grappling, and I think like is missing to push to the next level. I think the only way we can become professional is you get this to TV.
Well, anyway, for all you viewers out there that are watching, you know, truly you're talking, you know, a legend and so forth. So therefore, the ones that watch, stay in tune. My brother.
My pleasure, sir. What a pleasure.
All right.